Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be going over my first round game of the 7th Lake Erie Go tournament. So the story of this tournament is, this is actually my tournament series that I've been putting together for a few years now. And I like to compete in it even though it is a lot of work, because I like to play in tournament. Even though it may alter my play, because I have to do all the organizing and setting up and pairings and all that, but I still like to challenge myself. And this is the 7th iteration. The 6th iteration was 2019, I believe, fall 2019, and the 7th one was supposed to be spring 2020, but of course the global pandemic happened, and so I had to cancel it. So this is almost 2.5 years later, the 7th one came about. And the 7th one, I don't know if it's because there hasn't been as many in-person tournaments because of the pandemic, but this tournament was our biggest turnout ever. So I was very pleased with that. So with that out of the way, let's talk about my first round game. So my first round game is against a player called Do Hyuk Kim, and they're actually visiting from Seoul, Korea, and this was actually their first AGA tournament. So I was their first AGA official match. That being said, when he was pre-registering, he was registering a 7-dan, then 8-dan, and there is handicap in this tournament. So he settled on 7-dan. So I knew, regardless of what he entered as, he would be strong, but there was some okay, how strong is he really? So I was ready to test myself. Since there is handicap, this is not an even game. This is a 1-stone handicap game, so the komi is just a half. It's half. The time settings are 30 minutes with 3 30-second overtime. So yeah, let's look at the game. So the opening is pretty standard. Approaching, pincering when you have the lower right enclosure, but there's many moves you can do here. White takes the corner, and we play this again, very common, very common, and white jumps. And so I thought, okay, I could play in the upper left, but I decided to play in the lower left. And white backs off, once again, very common, and there are a lot of different moves that could be played here, and they're all roughly the same, and it could depend on your style. So I'm not going to get into all the potential moves. Just know that in the opening there are a lot of good moves, as long as you stick to some fundamentals, such as playing in the corners. You'll be fine. And so you can see after white plays here, we've actually played in all the corners. So both of us are following fundamentals. And once corners are taken up, you don't move to the center, you move to the sides. So that's play h4. H4 is, because I'm sure you have, because it's a very common joseki. If you've ever seen this joseki, this is kind of the move to put pressure on it. You're looking to, if white goes elsewhere, you're looking to kick and jump. And the point of this is white's shape gets very over-concentrated, and black, you can see, is able to build on a large scale in this case. So that's why in the game, white peeps. And this peep, so I'll show you what happens in the game first. So I just connect. I don't want to give him any forcing moves is the idea. And then he pincers. And I kick. I get my kick anyways and jump. But he's able to get the first move in this on the bottom, and then I help my stones, and then he even gets to go elsewhere again. So I think my move here is a little slack, because there are a lot of potential cuts here for white if I push here, right? White has cut at d3, e5, and e7. So if I cut here now, if white extends, even if I just connect now, you can see white has a lot of problems in their shape. assuming white gives that up somehow, maybe just extending. So now I'm on the 5th line. So I'm not peeped down to the 3rd line. And also, not that white would do this now, but assuming white played the same move. Again, I shouldn't assume that, but just for example's sake. This move here becomes a very obvious weakness in white's shape. Even if white pushes here and pushes through, these kind of moves would be helping black attack this stone here. And even if white does something, if I push, let's say white cuts, then I'm even able to net white into the corner. So I think I should push and cut. Usually when your opponents peep, you don't want to give them any extra forcing moves, but I can actually weaken white's shape by pushing. And also, at this point, maybe white wouldn't play the same sort of move, of course. But even then, I'm not sure what white would play. Even then, I'm not sure what white would play here. The usual move you play, by the way, is simply coming under like this. And then black views this as a good exchange and then just does something else. So that's what I was expecting. When white peeped, maybe I got a little thrown off. Pincer, kick, so I got my kick. Play there. But the thing about how white is playing is white is really making a lot of groups. So I simply just play a very solid move that helps the corner, but is saying, okay, white, you're disconnected. So white attaches. So the reason why white attaches now is now that I've helped protect the corner, white knows, okay, black wants the corner. So it's okay if black gets stronger there, because black isn't technically gaining any points with these moves because the corner is staying roughly the same. Now white tries to get a little bit more, and if I had simply played here, then I would have to fix again somehow. Then white would get to extend, and you can see white would be able to get a base for both sides. So I said that's enough. I'm going to Hani on the inside and extend out like this. Yeah, so that you'll see that white does get some forcing moves, but now white doesn't have a base. White fixes, push, peep, white Ataris. This is very good timing. Just in general, if your opponent peeps, as white, I'm thinking, okay, I know black wants me to answer. So before I answer, let me make sure I get my Sente. Now, in this sort of case, it's not the best example because black would die. But let's say white did connect, and then white tried to Atari later. Well, now black, again, in this case, it doesn't make as much sense, but it still rings true that if white captures, black has already gotten the R8 stone for the R7. Black has already gotten this R8, R7 exchange, which, if white had already captured, white would never fill that. So that's why you want to Atari first before you connect, or get your Sentes before you connect. And yeah, here, the jump, it's hard to say, but I'm not the biggest fan of the jump. I think I should just go here. I think I should just, this is actual points, and white still can't connect in one move. So, yeah, I think I should do that. Yeah, like if white jumps, I can simply just attach here. And even though white can cut me off here, I'm 100% alive in the corner, and as long as I have access into the center, I'm okay. So, yeah, and I was debating getting this move, and I really wanted this move, but I was like, nope, we're just going to keep white separated. But once white extended, you can see white's base there is pretty good. Yeah, and then this move, and yeah, the idea with this move is I actually want this move. Yeah, but I was like, oh, there's a weakness here in my shape, where say I do try to come in or do try to attack this, there is weakness if white wedges like this. So instead, I should just continue pressuring with a move like this. Like this move is taking away black space, and it's still, like let's say black fixes, it is still, like I still think this move is Sente, right? Like it doesn't put any less pressure on. So, yeah. Or just simply go here. Either way, this move might be a little too much. Unless I was willing to, at this point, like just give up. Or just let white connect and take my profit on the bottom. That's also possible. Like if something like this happened. Yes. Maybe not even cut because I am actually already connected, but yeah, something. The cut is big. Why make these exchanges if you weren't going to cut? So yeah, maybe something like this. But I had to spend a move to fix, and then white got to fix anyways. Now, this isn't the worst thing in the world because I can still play M2. So, but I cap, white peeps, fix, back off, white connects, and just very solid diagonal. No cuts. Hane, play there, and then shape point. So like so far in this game, I'm feeling pretty good. I am feeling pretty good. So, white has to pull back. Play this move. Get rid of some eye shape there. I don't think there was actually an eye there, but it is Sente anyway, so it just feels good to get. And then jump. Yeah, and then white comes back and fixes. Yes, and here, what if I simply just take? So I go after the right side next, but I think I can just take because is white alive? Is white alive at the bottom? Especially with moves like G1, white has to worry. So yeah, just get rid of those because white technically has the ladder. Right, goes to the upper left, so it is a little scary. But I at least go down. Again, because I know G1 is Sente, I can put pressure on this group. So white comes out, and then lives. And then I attach under. So, yeah, but like so far in this game, like I'm feeling pretty good. Like white really only has gained a handful of points on the bottom. And white isn't alive yet on the right side. So I was feeling good in this game. So I attach underneath, saying, okay, white, if you let me come out, if you let me connect under, then you're not going to have an alive shape here. Something like this. So white sees that and goes here. Yeah, and here... Yeah. This felt okay during the game, and I think it could have been okay, because I can cut off the 3 stones. But how I handled this was bad. So, like here, when white Ataris, I should just cut this. Again, this is profit when I'm attacking. And whenever you attack, you're not looking to kill, you're just looking for profit. And the reason why I connected is I wanted to keep this Aji at N9. Like when white Atari, I could peep. I wanted this peep because it helped me surround the 3 stones on the right. But if I simply cut here, because these stones have very few liberties, white taking here, like you can see when if white tries to cut here, white capturing here is not Sente. And that's key. because that means, let's say white even jumps out here. This move is still Sente. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So yeah, because if white does something else, cut, white takes, Atari. Yes. So yeah, something like this. So yeah, and the thing with cutting here is this is not only big point wise, but you'll see white can get that in Sente, because I need to live here. I get that, capture, and play there, and then yeah, here I should just go here. Just make sure there's no Aji here. Again, like, I've gotten some points in the lower right, points in the lower left. White's really only gotten like 3 points here and like 3 points here. So there's no need to try to get more, because of course there's bad Aji here. So yeah, I should simply just jump here. Simply just jump here. There's no need to do something crazy. There's no need to do something crazy. Yeah, because after this, like, there's potential to do this, but it is very difficult to try to kill this. To try to kill this group, because I'm not alive here. I got to worry about cuts here. So yeah. So I just have to kind of pull back like this. Peep. I can peep once, because if I had to cut like this, just directly, then white getting all this, white's shape is pretty good. Although white finds a nice squeeze that I didn't even see anyway, so maybe this is better regardless. But in my mind, I didn't want white to get that Atari, so I played this first. But when I played it, I was like, oh my goodness, that's a mistake, because white can cover here. And this was me during the game. But once I looked at it reviewing, I was like, oh, okay. I can actually still squeeze my way out like this. Yeah, I can still squeeze my way out. So just enough space for me to make it work. So when white connected during the game, I was like, oh my goodness, thank goodness. But it turns out white did need to go there. So I cut. But yeah, white saw the squeeze here. Yeah, I have to connect Hane. You can see Atari. And all of a sudden, I'm down to 2 liberties. So yeah, I was just like, okay, you can have those 2 stones. But of course, white, instead of just Ataring 1 stone like in the variation I was scared of in the game, white actually just captures 2 stones in Sente. So yeah. So here, I at least get my follow-up for N15. And always remember, when they push here, you do not have to block here. You can instead push when they block, then cut, because this is Sente, otherwise you capture, and then Atari, like this. And then white gets some points there, and then white connects. Yeah, so looking back, like, I could have cut there as opposed to playing at 06, and yeah, that would make a big difference, a big difference. White pushes, jumps out. I gotta worry about this group, so I simply cut, and then white plays back. Yeah, so still feeling okay about this game, but I was like, okay, now it comes down to the upper side. What can I get on the upper side, and will it be enough? So here in the game, I went here, but I think this is a mistake. I think white can just ignore, and even though I get this Atari, like, it's not much. I reduce a little bit, basically. Yeah. So maybe it's worth it, but it's one of those things where in the game I just instinctually took it. But maybe I shouldn't have. Because, again, in my mind, if white connects, then I have to fix. But I can fix in ways like Atariing here first, and then like playing this kind of move even. Right? Saying, okay, if you can't cut because I can then extend here, and your stones run out of space. So that's why I took it, because I didn't want to have to fill there, but maybe white can ignore. White took, and then I come in. And then white plays, this is a very nice move because white is basically preparing to attack J17 from afar. Because this move is threatening to pull out the E9 stone there. So I just fix. And then white, of course, pincers. And yeah, if I just maybe attach here, white's just going to simply extend and then cut. Something like this. So I jump, peep, and then play there. And then I play here, asking, okay, are you going to let me go into the corner? White says, nope. So then attach. Clamp. Clamp is a nice move because it's saying, okay, if black connects the clamp, now white keeps the majority of the corner, and it's just difficult for black. There are cuts, but the cuts in the meantime aren't that big. So instead, or if I extend down, white can wedge, and again, maybe I capture a stone, but white keeps the majority of the top, which is what white needs. So instead, I attach here. And the point of this move is, if white hanes, now I can play here, and this is actually setting up a double Atari. So even if white maybe Atari's this way, I can Atari at C17. And this would just be disastrous for white. So white captures, but then I can wedge and then connect. The point of the wedge is to kind of look at white's liberties. If I simply just connect here, which is what I want, but if I just connect and white, it looks a little weird, but white just goes here, white's liberties are amazing. So just by going here, I'm able to reduce white's liberties. Yeah, even though white has a Ponuki, which we consider a strong shape, it's not good on liberties, especially when there are these black stones around. So I attach. Again, this is all looking at the liberties. And then cut. So you can see I can capture E8. I am threatening to capture the E18 stones, threatening a double Atari at D16. Yeah, so I was feeling okay. Yeah, and then Atari. So white just goes here to save. Yeah. Yeah, this is very complicated, so I won't go through all the variations. Just there's a lot of bad Aji for white. And remember, as black, or as anybody that is invading, you don't need everything to live. Like when I'm looking at this kind of white space here, I'm not thinking, okay, how can I get rid of all of it? Or how can I save all of my stones? I'm just thinking, how can I get something in there that can live comfortably, right? I don't want to be attacked and lose maybe points on the left side and, lose a lot of, get hurt elsewhere. And that is one of the nice things about this game, is that I don't have to worry about any of my other groups, right? My center group is safe, my right side group is safe. So white needs to find a way to just attack what's on the board, because remember, attack for profit usually means where can I get points elsewhere. But white needs to make sure everything holds very locally. So this was like kind of white's the one who has to find the best way. And then so I can Atari. And here I was like, oh yeah, white has to go here. But then again, like, black goes here, like, black is getting a lot. Black is getting a lot. But I was like, oh, well then when I take the corner, I'm also getting a lot. What I didn't see was this Hane. I'm very low on liberties. Now, the thing with this Ko is, like, I get put into Atari with this Ko. And sure, when I take, white's also in Atari. The difference is white can connect once. And now, on this board, look for a Ko threat big enough. Now, sure, maybe F1 is big enough, right? So white answers. The problem is I cannot connect this Ko because I only have 2 liberties, so I can't go to F16. So I have to fight this Ko just straight up. So it's just a very difficult Ko. So I think white could have done this. So I can't do this. So what that means is I have to do something like Atari. White will fill this, and I have to fight this kind of Ko. So whatever happens, it's gonna be very bad for black. So yeah, so instead, so here it is very difficult. This is a difficult position, but maybe I need to just connect like this. Just connect like this. Because this way, white actually cannot separate me now. Right? If white goes here, Atari. Yeah, maybe something like this. It is difficult to say. Yeah. I lose the 5 stones though, but at least something. I save something, but yeah. In the game, what happens is white goes here, which I was like, okay, I get that, but you could have just Haned, because now I get to Atari and then come out. And you can see Atari, white Hanes, Hane back. I not only take the corner, but I also like cut white off now. White needs to live. I play this one. Again, white needs to worry about those 4 stones, so I'm able to cut. And white needs to add an extra stone. Yeah, I think white can play one more move here. I'm pretty sure. Something like this. Although maybe it's again this position is so complicated. But if I try to cut here, there is Aji with white poking or hitting the head of the goblin's nose. So yeah, but there's a lot of craziness going on. So maybe white just knew the game, because I was able to cut off here, which was big. So now I'm actually making points in the center, and I was able to cut off or get into the corner. But yeah, all of a sudden we're in an endgame. So yeah. So overall, I was very happy with this game. Yeah, especially the rank differential. I felt like I played pretty well. So yeah, especially in my especially looking back at the Midwest Open, where it felt like just left and right I was making mistakes. The fact that I was able to not only run this event but play pretty well, I was pretty happy. Part of it might have been the slower time settings at the other event, whereas this one was faster. Meant I was able to play at a reasonably the same level, whereas everyone else I was playing maybe played a little worse with the slow time settings. Because I tend to play roughly equal regardless of time setting, which says something about my Go. But I think that does have something to do with it. am a fast player. I just am a fast player. But yeah. So we'll just do an endgame. So I'm happy with how I played in this game, basically. I'm happy with how I played this game. Even though at the Midwest Open I got some wins, some of those wins were just like, or the wins I got were like, not great. But yeah, we're just doing endgame, and yeah, it was a pretty close game. It was, the end result was white by 4.5, I believe, and that is no Komi. So yeah, so it was 4.5 on the board, and if I was feeling so good. But yeah, if I could have got these points here in the lower right, got these points here instead of jumping up, yeah. So lots of, again, you can never play perfectly, but overall I was pretty pleased. Here's a small thing I want to mention. White descends, which gets white a point, but the reason why I descend once is if I just go here like this, white can take. And there's no co-threats, but by descending once, I get Atari, and now there's a co-threat. And we're talking like half-point co at the end of the game, because let's say, there's a co, like Atari. If white takes the co, like white's able to capture back, right? But I can capture 4 points where white captures 2 points. So it is a slight gain. So it's just thinking about kind of like a small co at the end of the game, which on this board there is some. So white pokes at the shape here, but there's just nothing. And yeah, 4.5 point game. So pretty happy with this game. Yeah, if you have any questions about this game, please let me know in the comments. I'll have a link to the game in the description. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.